to another episode of Baseball Books and Banter with me, your host, Nicole. Everybody go crazy. Obviously, I have my Diet Coke because, again, this is my episodic reminder to Diet Coke to sponsor me. Just send me free Diet Cokes. That would be ideal because all I do is drink that daily. But anyway, today's guest reached out to me through Level Best Books, which we are both members of, and she asked, I'm on a list of historical mystery readers because that's what I love to read. It's not what I write, but it's what I love to read. And I was honored to read a copy of her book and leave some reviews, and it's really a really fun book. So Christi Sumich is a historian, an English major, an academic, but now a mystery author and historical mystery author. And I'm also obsessed with her and her mom writing cocktail books. I think that's just the sweetest thing that could ever be done. And so if you're a drinker, check those out. But she wrote a book. She's a lifelong New Orleans. And she has a personal connection to the story, which she says a lot of people in New Orleans have, with the pirate Jean Lafitte. So definitely check out the book LAFITTE Lives. It's a prequel of her old New Orleans bookshop mystery series, and the first book in the series, but I guess the second book, The Swamp Ghost, comes out in September. So hopefully she'll come back. But it was a great conversation, super fun. I'm so glad I got to meet her. This is what I love about this podcast, guys, because even when the world is on fire, I get to talk to people that are creative but have different backgrounds and provide different knowledge, and it's just it's my favorite thing to do. And that's one of the reasons I love this position that I'm in as a cozy mystery author, as a cozy mystery fan, as a mystery fan, and as president of Sisters in Crime New England, is I just get to talk to people. And for those that know, I am a yapper and I love to yap about anything. And especially when it's something I love to yap about. Well, guess what? We gonna be yapping. So we were yapping and it was great. So definitely listen. Before we jump in, as always, I got to do the things I'm obsessed with this week. Mainly, it's my Diet Cokes keeping me going because it's been a rough work week. Also, I'm really, really, really trying to be good and trying to write every day on the weekend. Yesterday kind of fell by the wayside because there's a new Lego store called Bricks and Minifigs in Newton, and it was their grand opening yesterday. So obviously I had to go. If you follow me on the talks and Insta, you will have seen my haul video of my friends set, which I'm very excited to build. Right now, I'm building the Once Upon a Brick set, which is Little Red Riding Hood or Jack and the Beanstalk. So I'm going to finish that today and then start into my next sets, which is really kind of exciting. One of the sets I have a new bookcase, and so I put a lot of them over there, but I have cats, I have my bookshelf, I have all the little booky ones, I have the French cafe, which is gorgeous. So big fan. And then I went to Lane Bryant to do I had some Christmas money to spend, Christmas credit, because my dad and Maureen tried, but they just didn't get what I liked at Christmas. So I returned a bunch of stuff, but I got a bunch of stuff, including this lovely sweatshirt that I'm wearing. And I love my girls there because they know me, the writer, and which is kind of fun too. One of the managers, her son's a writer, and so we're going to connect and do some stuff with that. And for every, I like Lane Bryant because as a bigger girl, because it does range the gamut of clothing. You have the older, I don't want to, I'm not trying to be derogatory, but like businessy clothes or more mom clothes. But then you have the fun stuff. I got this cheetah skirt that I'm really excited to wear to Malice. So if you see me in April in the cheetah skirt, yes, you did. And I can't wait. So make sure you say something because I'll be pairing it with a baseball shirt and I can't wait. Anyway, what else am I obsessed with? March Madness is happening right now. I do have a bracket. I'm the bracketologist on our work team. Only one active person, or no, two people on my active work team are doing it. The rest are former team members because, hey, we like to have fun, and it's for no points. It's for bragging rights to say that you know the most about basketball, and none of us do. I think my bracket's busted. There's one rando on the bracket. I'm not sure who he is, if it's a Facebook friend or a writer friend. If Dave, if you're listening, you're doing great. I think you're tied for fifth with me, so fourth or fifth. Um, and right now Purdue's winning, so that's fine too. I don't know. We're a UConn house because, like, obviously we've lived in Connecticut. We were born and raised in Connecticut. Well, not born and raised, but my parents were, and then I was born in Connecticut. So yeah. I am wearing the cutest hydrangea earrings. And if you're on YouTube, you can see them. Hydrangeas were my mom's favorite flower. For those that don't know, I have it tattooed on my arm as well. This is my only tattoo. It's my mom's signature into her favorite flower. Funny story, little lore for you, is the signatures from her divorce paperwork, because I'm nothing if not classy. It's kind of my remembrance to her. So when I saw these earrings, I was like, oh, I have to get them. I bought them at a store in, what is it, the Winsmith Mills in Norwood. So definitely go check out all those stores. They're super fun. And that's about all I'm obsessed with right now, because it is sports season. So obviously March Madness is happening, baseball season. So this is being filmed on Sunday, March 22nd. On Thursday, March 26th, the 2026 27, no, I guess it's the 26th season starts. And I'm excited about the Red Sox. I've always been excited about the Red Sox. I've told you this before. Don't really care that Bregman's gone. He played like half a season for us. And even then, he was just fine. So I'm excited to see some of the guys. I want Tristan Casas to come back healthy. Jaron Duran has been killing it all spring. Masataka Yoshida, we just went through the World Baseball Classic, and I just think he's adorable because he's like a big nerd, but he's so cute with his high pants and his running. Yesterday was funny. I was listening to the game on the radio with Will Fleming and Cooper Boardman, and I love them together. And so WEEI, if you're listening, Coop should be on the list of people to announce. Lou Merlone is always classic, but Coop is definitely my pick for the Joe Castig seat with Will, because they're just electric together. But I started laughing hysterically because spring training, you get a little punchy because it's players you don't know towards the end of the game. And they started talking about scuba diving and the past tense of scuba diving. And I was snort laughing in my car because just the way these two dudes are just talking about, is it scuba dove, scuba divin? And that just broke me. So shout out to the radio, Sox Booth Radio. My preferred way to enjoy the Red Sox. I do love a good radio broadcast. I've been listening to them in the Nationals when the Red Sox aren't playing. The Celtics are doing great. Jason Tatum's back. The Bruins are doing fine, just coming back and doing their thing, and sometimes losing, sometimes winning. I don't even care what they do. We also have a new women's soccer team, the Boston Fleet, or not the Boston Fleet. What are they? The Legacy. The Fleet is the women's hockey league, and they are bananas good. Like, they're so good. And I really think I got to go see a game because they look like they have a time. And I love the name, the Boston Fleet, because of course I do, like I'm the Navy brat. So yeah, so sport life is good. And I know I said I was going to do like a breakdown of my Red Sox thing, but guess what, guys? I'm pumped. I think it's going to be a good season. Yeah, we're going to have some power issues. And yeah, pitching's always a question mark, even though we look like on paper we have a good bullpen and a good starting rotation. Guys, that's why there's 162 of them. Like, we got a lot of time. And I love all my girlies on Threads who I follow, baseball girlies, and they are amazing. So shout out to all of them. I don't know why my phone's dinging at me, but it is. So I've talked enough because, like I said, the interview with Christi is awesome. And she was awesome. And I am excited to now know her because now I can't wait to read more. And hopefully I'll get to meet her in real life soon as a level bestie. But yeah, her book, I recommend, and you know me, I love to recommend books, but I finished LAFITTE Lives pretty quickly because it engages you real, like the dual timeline, the story within a story. And then, as we spoke about, Mary Catherine, who is my new favorite person in books. So with all that said, enjoy Christi. Welcome welcome to Baseball Books and Banter. My guest today is a fellow level bestie, and I'm very excited. She reached out to me we have a special book blurb group, which is really fun because I get to read books before they come out and also kind of get to read something that's a little outside of my genre. So I'm a cozy author, but you write historical. So Christi, Sumich. Oh, did I just say it wrong?
No, you said it right.
Okay. Phew. And I'm going to leave that in because I don't edit very well for
Okay.
those that listen. Welcome.
Thank you.
Give people a little kind of background about who you are, and then we'll jump into the book, which I'm very excited to talk about.
Okay, sure. So I came to fiction writing later in life, let's say. I call it my encore career.
Love that.
I've been an academic my whole life, either in the classroom or in administration, mostly in higher ed, but I dabbled in secondary a little bit. My master's is in English and my PhD is in history. Specifically early modern British history. I do disease and medicine, so all things plague and leprosy and syphilis and all those wonderful things.
Not like
and
that's needed anytime soon. Not that we had just a pandemic. No, it's fine.
I know it was kind of crazy because what I specifically have always studied is society's reactions to these diseases and how it changes. And so that part was actually
and maybe
fascinating.
how it doesn't change.
Well, right.
Ew,
right.
Like that's anyway, that's sad stuff. Let's not talk about that.
I know. Yeah, that's a whole
that's a whole other discussion.
But after this is going back about 2-3 years ago, I was kind of, your life changes at different points in your life. And I have 3 children. My youngest was about to go off to college. And the day before that, my oldest, my son, was getting married. So we were getting him married and waking up the next morning and moving my daughter to college.
Wow.
And my middle daughter was already, well on her way in college. And I started to think to myself, you know what? I need to find something that is mine, separate from my identity. And I own a business that's related to education, but it gave me a lot of free time. At this point, it's in a good place. And I thought, I really need to take something on. Like, what is on my bucket list that I want to tick off? And after I wrote my academic monograph that I spent like 10 years, it was a dissertation, and then I changed it into a book. And so, it's one of those where the footnotes are almost as long as the text. And I was very proud of it. I got my box of books, that like new book smell. And we're at dinner and I'm showing the kids and they're like, "That's great, Mom. Next time, can you write something people want to read?" I was like, you know what?
You're like, first of
all,
good idea. Rude. But second of all, good point.
Exactly. Those were exactly the 2 emotions going through my head. So I kind of filed that away in the back of my mind. So as I was trying to figure out what is this next chapter going to look like, I thought, I know how to write nonfiction. Why? I think history is fascinating. Why can't I write some history that has more of a general audience? So I ended up writing a New Orleans style cocktail book with my mother, who is she's a retired attorney, but she was a tour guide for the city of New Orleans. Like, she knows the city in and out. She loves it. We both love cocktails. Who doesn't love a good crafty cocktail? And who doesn't I love spooky season. Spooky season in New Orleans is huge. So we did that book with a great publisher who did a fantastic job with the book. And we ended up writing another cocktail book, but still in the back of my mind was this little urge to, not a little, an insistent urge to write a novel. And so then I thought, I could probably write something historical because that's what I like to read. And everybody says you should write what you like to read.
Right.
So that's how LAFITTE Lives was born.
And you've touched on it a little bit, but you are a lifelong New Orleans resident. Obviously your mother is as well. But I love the book, but one of my favorite things to do is always read the author's note, always read the acknowledgments. And I love how personal the story is. It's this fun it's a mystery of this person's life, but it's also an action adventure novel, and you have a personal connection to it. So for those that don't know, Lafitte, is that how we pronounce it? He was a pirate. He doesn't want to be called that, but he is a pirate. And I've only been to New Orleans once, but he is heavily referenced down there. And so he's one of the American pirates, as they call him, even though he was not 100% American, 100% whatever. Of course, it was that time period too, where nobody was really from anywhere. They were from all over. So in the author's note, you talk about why you were drawn to this particular person and this particular story. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, absolutely. So one thing you need to know about the pirate Jean Lafitte, he is ubiquitous down in southern Louisiana in general, New Orleans. We have everything is named up. He he and his brother Pierre owned a blacksmith shop that is now a bar, and
Oh,
its legend has it is the oldest structure still used as a bar. It
wow.
wasn't original. In his
Oh,
time,
yeah.
it was actually a blacksmith shop, but it
Okay.
is a bar. It's a fascinating structure. Anyway, there are streets named after him. There are towns named after him. There are parks named after him. He's just all over. And most people have some sort of story about how they're related to him.
Yeah.
It's just, he was a really popular guy. He got around,
Yeah.
and none of
Huh?
it is legitimate. You can't really make the claims. Of course, my family has this. Now, ours is stronger than most. I couldn't prove it, but
Yeah.
my mother's grandmother was a Saint Amant, like spelled like Saint Amant, but it's all
Okay.
French too. So they
Sure.
don't, the French don't like to pronounce consonants. So
Right.
she's a Saint Amant, and she inherited land from in Barataria, supposedly from him. Barataria is a swampy region south of New Orleans where Jean Lafitte plied his trade. His pirate kingdom was there. That is very heavily Lafitte influenced. My grandfather received as payment in London papers that Jean Lafitte wrote. Now, these have been authenticated,
Oh,
that
that's
these
awesome.
really are his papers. They are now in the Historic New Orleans collection, as they should be, archived, available to scholars. But growing up, they were hanging in my parents' dining room on the wall. They are behind glass, of course, but they're about 8 of them. So they have two large rectangular frames, and the parchments they're huge,
Oh,
and
great.
they're yellowed with age at this point, and written front to back, top to bottom, because parchment was very expensive. So you didn't waste it. You used there were no margins. And I remember growing up looking at these pieces of paper hanging up on the dining room wall in their flowy French script. I couldn't read it because not only is it French, but it's
Yeah.
early 19th century.
I was gonna say it's old French, but it's also
It's old, very old
was
French.
it old French, like Creole French? Was it kind of it was
No, it
French
was
French?
French.
Okay,
French
French
French.
French.
Yes. So I could see his signature at the bottom, Jean Lafitte, and the date, 1805. And growing up, I can remember just staring at these pieces of paper thinking, I can't believe, like, it was like the magic of history for me,
Yeah.
right? Like, this person who lived 200 years ago is something from his is right here, and I can touch it through glass, but and I remember asking my mom, like, what are these?
Yeah.
And she said I already knew who Jean Lafitte was, but she said, it's a legal document to do something illegal. So whether you think he was a pirate, he liked to call himself a privateer, which meant he was government
I feel like a
sanctioned.
lot of pirates also considered themselves privateers. Like, I mean, wasn't
Yes.
Blackbeard like a privateer in
Yeah,
England?
because
It was the definition changed depending on who you were asking.
right. And one of them means that you can be
Yeah.
hanged, and the other one means you're, working for the government. So
Right.
it
Right.
was in his best interest to be a privateer.
Yeah, I'm a privateer. Yeah.
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 But the contract was very detailed, and it was written with one of his other privateers who worked, because he had a fleet of ships that would go out and they would raid Spanish ships and bring back the spoils. And so this was in meticulous detail what was to happen to everything once this pirate came back with the ship. And so nothing was left to chance. Like,
Right.
here was a man who really thought his way through
Like a
things. He was a
business.
businessman. He
Yeah,
absolutely
exactly.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like even reading the book, you kind of get that sense. Um, his brother Pierre was kind of the face of the
Yes.
Lafitte's, but he was the brain. Like, he was the one who
Yes.
did all the work, did all the but Pierre was the respectable face, even though he was
Right.
and stuff like that. Yeah. So I just think it's funny how, and like you said, it's you look at something and go, oh my God, that was 200, 300, 400 years ago, whatever history. And you're like, I want to know more about that story. And
Right.
you can't always get that story. I'm a big fan of weirdly Tudor history. I don't know.
Me too.
And it's
That's what I study. Yes,
right. And that's what
absolutely.
it's like, that whole thing. And you're like, man, there's so many different stories that could be told. How did you decide because there are real characters in the book and there are fictional characters. I do love Mary Catherine. I just want to say that she was probably my favorite. Tobias is sweet and nice, but Mary Catherine was the realist to me.
Yeah.
And I love that. But she's kind of the sleuth ish, her and her husband. And where did the kind of those pieces start to come in? Like, you knew you wanted to write about the privateer pirate, but also how are you going to meld that into a historical fiction?
Right. That originally the character of Tobias was just a throwaway, not a throwaway, but a very, very minor in the beginning, a vehicle to have that journal. Because just to back up, if you haven't read it, this isn't giving anything away. This is literally in chapter 1.
Spoiler-free zone.
Yeah. But in chapter 1, he finds a journal hidden in Dominic Yu's tomb. Dominic Yu was supposedly the half brother of Jean Lafitte. And I didn't really, in the very, very early stages, I didn't know what I was going to do with this. It ended up to be a story within a story.
Yeah.
I agree with you that Mary Catherine is also my favorite character. And in fact, when I wrote, and I'll get back to your original question, but I wanted to throw this in here. When I wrote Lafitte Lives, I wrote it as a standalone thinking, this is it. This is the whole story. And it wasn't until a couple of months later that I thought, these characters are still living rent-free in my head, and I'm just not done with any of them. And I especially wasn't, sorry, that's my dog. I especially wasn't done with Mary Catherine. Yeah. And so Lafitte Lives ended up becoming a prequel to what is, I think, a little bit more cozy adjacent. Okay. The next one is called The Swamp Ghost. So there's 3 more coming up, and I already have the story arc for because there's stories within this that I'm not finished telling.
Yeah.
So Mary Catherine will be front and center in these next 3 as the amateur sleuth. Okay. That's there. It's because she didn't have a chance to come into her own at Lafitte Lives.
Like as you read, like at first when you first hear of her character, you're like, oh no, it's not, this isn't really a spoiler. Oh, it's the harpy wife. But really, but her and Tobias, they do have a there's a story behind the story, but also they have a sweet relationship. Like he knows who she is, she knows who he is, and I don't want to say it's opposites attract, but it's very much complementary styles. And I think that's important in books sometimes, because you get, you see it's the overbearing wife, or it's the absent husband father, but they really feel like a family. And I think that's really important to read in a mystery sometimes that you don't usually get.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think I didn't want them to just be tropes. Like I wanted them to be, because in my mind they're people.
Sure.
And they're representative. They're an Irish family. If you haven't read the book, they're representative of Irish families that came to New Orleans during that time period and made a life. And I always kind of think how hard it must be to live in a place where disease is ever present, and you can lose everything. You wake up that morning and you think everything's fine, and it's not. And so I think there's 2 different ways of dealing with that emotionally, and Tobias and Mary Catherine are sort of representative of the ways that you can deal with it. But to go back to your original question,
I was like, I don't even remember my original question. I get so excited.
It was the historical characters versus the completely made up characters. I did it with the story within a story. So it was, and this is where I work hard to not do spoilers. Lafitte's story has completely made up characters as well.
Sure.
So it's that taking creative license of what is going to be historically accurate and what is going to go into the realm of fiction. So I had to make some of those decisions.
But you again I love. See, this is why I like historical, because you read the historical and it's entertaining and you're having fun or you're learning something. But the author's notes to me in historical mysteries are some of like the gold mines, because you find, here's what I know to be true, here's what I've read that is true, but here's where I kind of fudge things. And I think that's good to know, because a lot of, even in yours, you add new characters, but they're sort of a conglomerate of other people. So like they definitely are representative of the people of the time. They might not be real people, but they're like a mishmash of people. And I think that's, so everybody, if you read historical, make sure you read the historical notes and the author notes, because I find those to be first of all, I, as an author, I love reading acknowledgments anyway, because I'm just like, oh, look at all
Me
these
too.
people. They're so happy. Oh, yeah, I'm so happy for everybody. They're hard to write, everybody, but they're fun to read. So with the arc, so Lafitte Lives is going to be the prequel to the Mary Catherine mysteries.
Yes.
That's not what they're called, but that's in my right.
They almost were called that.
Okay. See, I mean, well, it is what it is, right? And so this is after, so the next books will be after this first one. So kind
Yes.
of what kind of history are you looking at going into that? And are you still kind of leaning into the pirate thing, or is it going to be completely different?
So
And I
the
mean, being
swamp.
in New Orleans, I mean, I'm sure you have like, I mean, history up the wazoo. So
It's
you
so
really
easy.
know.
It's
Yeah.
so easy. I
We
mean,
have
there's
that
so
in
many
New
we can.
England too. It's like you turn around a corner,
Yeah,
it's
of
a house from the
course.
1800s. Great. Let's read about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love using history as the basis to write something fictional. And so the next book is called The Swamp Ghost. And it's about a fifale, which is like a blue orb. It's a legend, like a swamp legend that pirates would bury their treasure. And when they did, whoever helped them bury it, they would kill them and leave them in that spot. And then they were doomed to guard over that spot and over their treasure for all eternity. So
Oh,
so that's what a fifale is, and that's what the swamp ghost premise is. But it it takes place just a few weeks after the
okay.
closing of Lafitte Lives. Yes, so I am just pulling some different things out of 19th century, early New Orleans history. So it's still 1830s New Orleans,
Okay.
and melding. This one actually deals much more with the digging of the New Basin Canal. So there was this waterway that went from New Orleans to Lake Pontchartrain. If you're not from around here, that probably doesn't mean much to you, but it was a very ambitious digging project because after the Louisiana Purchase, Americans were pouring into New Orleans. New Orleans was predominantly French before that. Like
Right.
this is in Lafitte Liz, but the mayor during the War of
Yeah, it was
1812
French.
didn't speak English
Yeah,
at
which is
all. He
amazing.
just yeah, he just didn't see the
It's
need to.
like, no, no, no.
Yes,
That's my French
and
accent. No,
yeah,
no.
exactly. And so they had their own, the French had their own canal that they used, but the Americans wanted their canal. So this big digging project was going to help with all this new movement into the city. And the labor was Irish immigrant labor, and it was horrific. So many of them died. The living conditions were awful. The wages were terrible.
Sure.
And again, this is something that's known around here, but I think in a lot of other places,
Yeah.
so they're the ones out there digging the canal when the fifale is spotted. Again, not a spoiler. This all
No.
happens in the first chapter. And then Mary Catherine's going to have to figure out what's going on. But the story arc still involves, there's still pirates.
Yep.
There's still the Irish, but I'm bringing in new characters and
I can't
new
wait.
stories.
When's that one coming?
September.
September.
It's
Okay.
like right on the heels. Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, good. I don't have long to wait then. Because
No, you don't.
And I feel like I should mention that the series is the Old Bookshop.
It's called the Old New Orleans
New Orleans.
Bookshop Mysteries. Yeah.
Because there is a bookshop that
Yes.
family owns. And yeah, so I just want to make sure people know that there's a reason it's called that. It's not just because we're mystery authors and we love books, although that is true. How did you? So you did your smart people stuff, as I call it, the academic side of stuff, and then you did these nonfiction with your mom, which I love. My mom would never have gotten it. She'd been like, I don't want to work with you like that. We're gonna just watch General Hospital. And I'm like, that's fine. We can do that too. How did you go about finding Level Best, or did they find you, or did you do the whole agent thing, all the publishing brouhaha that goes on?
Yeah. So I did not know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Well, when we wrote our nonfiction, the cookbook, the cocktail book, I just sent it out to places that didn't need an agent because I'm like, I don't need an agent. And we got so lucky so fast. I mean, I think I sent out and nonfiction's different. You don't even have to have a book. You just have an idea. Right. And usually you have to have a following. Well, we have no following.
Yeah, right.
So I sent it out.
I just like to drink. Like
I know, right?
I don't know.
Well, we got very lucky, and the editor like within 2 days on a Saturday
Oh, wow.
had texted or emailed and said, like, let's set up a call, whatever. So that was how, so it's like, this publishing thing is not, why does everybody say it's so hard?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
so when it came to fiction, like, I don't need an agent.
The same thing. Yeah.
Same thing. So I sent it out, and I got lucky. It didn't actually take long at all. When Level Best didn't require an agent, they
That's
accepted
awesome.
unsolicited manuscripts. Now, my mother and I since then have written a paranormal, cozy, culinary set in New Orleans mystery, and we did go through the process and get an agent, and it's out on sub now. So
Okay.
I've done it from that point of view. But for this book and for the ones after, I just sent to Level Best.
Yeah.
I did my homework. They had a good reputation. They published things that I liked. And so I thought, well, I would like to be among these
And they're nice
authors.
people. Like that's
They
the
are nice
like you
people.
want to make sure you're going to be
Yes,
somebody who you can work with. And
absolutely.
I've gotten lucky because I've known them through conferences and other authors. So like they're as long as you know there's other people, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I can see those people. I see what they're doing. So because I had a different publisher that after because COVID just screwed everything up in publishing a little bit. So a lot of
Yes.
small presses folded, and mine happened to be one that just couldn't get back on their feet. And meeting Verena at a conference, I don't know if you know Donna Ray Menard. She's a Level Bestie. She's amazing.
I've read her book. I know
Yeah.
of her,
Oh,
but I haven't met her.
the pig book, my
Yes.
favorite.
Yes.
She had a pig, in case you didn't know, for a long time. But she was like, her and Verena always roomed together at the Crime Bake, and for some reason, and she was like, Verena, talk to Nicole. Nicole needs a new publisher, and so she pushed us together. And now I'm back. I'm with Level Best, which has some of my favorite books, like Daphne Silver's books, and just so many people. But yeah, it's a networking game. Sometimes you have to get lucky first. Sometimes like mine was the reason I got my publisher in 2017. My first publisher was a Twitter pitching contest. So it's like you don't know what works until you try it.
Right.
And like you said, I mean, I think I'm really intrigued about the paranormal cozy. Do you know Ellen Byron?
I don't know her personally, but I do admire her work.
Yeah, she has a vintage cookbook mystery set in.
I read them.
Yeah, they're good. So I love that.
They are good.
Hopefully you get to meet her. She's fantastic as well. Are you going to Malice Domestic?
I am not. No.
Bummer. That would have been fun to meet you in real life.
Yeah.
Also, we have a Crime Bake in New England. If you want to come up to New England in the fall, we have fun. It's more craft writer focused, but that's neither here nor there. What is your getting back to like the real stuff, the writing stuff? Do you have what's your writing schedule like? So is this your full-time job now, other than your business, I guess, right?
Yes, but my business takes up, I just do back office stuff for that. So I'm not, we are educational consultants. And so I have people who go into the classrooms to work with the teachers, and I don't do that anymore. So and that's one of the things I had to intentionally clear off my schedule, because there's so many people that say, oh, I want to write, I just don't have time, whatever. You have to, I treat my writing like a job, and I treat I treat this like a business. I absolutely do. And so I work every day, and I will work for hours, because I usually have multiple books going at once. And I'm very good at working from home. I think because of all the years spent getting my dissertation written while I had babies, and you're doing a load of laundry, and then you're getting back to it. And so I'm very focused at home. It's not a problem. And because I do work from home and it's my own hours, I work probably a lot more than I should. I'm always doing some aspect of it. If it's not, I only like to write one first draft at a time, but I like to be working on developmental edits for something and promoting something and just learning how to do, because there's so much about writing and publishing now and promotion that you just don't know, that you just have to learn, and like I did the koozies.
You don't know until you're in it and you're like, oh crap, I have to learn Canva because I have to promote and I need to make images because my publisher doesn't do that. And you don't know that until you know it. Adrian Andover, who's a cozy author, I interviewed him, and he said he dedicates 3 hours every morning to his writing. And it might not be writing. It might be doing the promotion. It might be like getting stuff together, putting calendar invites together, da da da. So I think what you say is like setting a schedule is important. My problem is yesterday I was like, I'm going to write all day. And then I went shopping. And then I was like, not today. Today it's going to rain though. And then I got March Madness on all day. So I'm like, okay, today I'm going to write all day.
Today is the day.
But you need, because I also have a full-time job and I work from home. So for me, it's hard too, because I don't want to go from that computer over there to this computer here at 5 o'clock, because I'm like, right, I can't look at a computer anymore. But for me, it's like finding that time on the weekends to actually buckle down and do it. And yeah, it's you have to make conscious decisions to do it, and that's the hard part sometimes. I can't imagine people with children. Like, I just have a job and cats, but like people with like young children who do it, God bless you guys.
I couldn't have done it at that phase of my life either. Like, you need the quiet to hear yourself think, and you need to just, sometimes you need to put it away. And I always say I do my best thinking in the bathtub. Like, I just need to sit and think about it. Or at night, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I know I have to grab my phone and start writing in notes, because I think I'll remember and I won't.
Never do.
But you have to like put it away, but give your brain that space to work out whatever you're trying to work out.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think it's hard when you're a newer author or a younger author, because you're like, I'm going to bang this out and it's going to be great and we're going to get it done. And it's like, no, that's not, I will say my first book, I had a draft done in 6 months, because it was the first one. I knew everything I wanted to get out. It's the second, the third, the fourth, where you're like, especially if it's a series, these characters are all defined. So I also have to remember everything about them. I should make a Bible, but I haven't done that yet because I'm lazy. But if any listeners want to make a book Bible for the mysteries, please do, because the only character I know for sure is my main character, because she's essentially me, just younger and having a baseball team. But yeah, it's one of those things, like when you're a baby writer, you don't think, oh, I need to learn how to make graphics. I need to know how to reach out to a bookstore. I need to know what the distro is. I need to learn what consignment is. And it is that. And I think you probably had a leg up a little bit, because you do have the business side with the business brain, and how do you find owning your own business and being a writer? Are there similarities between? Yeah.
It's pretty much the same thing as far as, you're managing your business. And figuring out what the best way, like for me, I think the biggest hurdle is just getting, especially when it's your first book or you're first in that genre, because my genre doesn't really cross over unless you like New Orleans stuff, but it's getting readers. And so like, I think it's about setting reasonable goals. And so my goal for Lafitte Lives, it has nothing to do with book sales whatsoever. My goal in promoting it and reaching out to local bookstores and doing all the things that I'm doing is to get readers. I want to find the people who enjoy the way that I write and enjoy the stories that I'm telling, so that they can join me on the rest of the journey. And I think that's like, carefully identifying what you want out of this is super important.
And don't let it be money, because guys,
oh no,
you don't make money. Like, I just want to throw that out. There's a reason I have a day job still. Like, people are like, oh, when are you going to quit your job? And I was like, are you kidding me? For the $40 every 4 months? No, I'm okay. Thanks.
That cannot be your motivation. No. But it wouldn't be. This is not what we would use our brain power for something else if that was the goal.
Right.
So, I was an English major though. I know,
Same. I'm a tech writer now. So like, I was an English major. Except when I was an English major, it was poetry. And I'm like, oh God, what am I doing? Like, this is stupid. I will definitely never make money. But then, and I'm similar to you, is I didn't really start writing fiction until I'd been in the workforce for 20 years. And 20 years, holy shit. And kind of learn a little bit more about myself. And I think I've talked about this. I'm going to be on the Sisters in Crime podcast, and I talk about it with Julie. I didn't know that I wanted to be a writer until I got older, because I have all these stories. I have the imagination, but it's one of those, you don't really know yourself yet at a certain age. And I think that's hard. And that's why I think you see a lot of authors really come into their own after a certain age. Yeah, you're lucky if you're 20 and you're getting all these book deals and stuff, all these young bucks. But I really think it takes a maturity to know what you want to write, how you want to write it, and how you want to get readers. Like I was the same way as you. As I
Yeah.
when I interviewed with my publisher, I said my big thing, other than being in bookstores, because we all want to be in Barnes and Noble,
Mm-hmm.
is seeing my book on the shelf at my library. Like
Yeah.
having it accessible for those to read it. And again, because they'll go on the journey with you. And if they really like it, they're going to buy it. And they're
Yeah.
going to want to follow you, and they're going to keep saying, when's the next book out? Which you're lucky because you can be like, September.
Yes.
It's really good. It's coming soon. Mine, I've had a couple of breaks in between because, again, the pandemic really threw off my writing style and writing acumen. But I think I'm getting better again. As I said, as I went shopping all day yesterday instead of but we are coming up to 10 minutes left, and I always like to see what my authors or interviewees are reading or recommending to the community at large for my tens of followers.
Okay, so what the book that I just, well, there's two. Gosh, there's so many good ones. There's a few that I'm late to the party that I went back and read just because I've been hearing so much about Remarkably Bright Creatures. I never read it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that book. And now I'm obsessed with octopus. Obsessed. Like I've watched the National Geographic stuff on it. They're so smart.
I haven't read it yet, but my mom was in a book club, and she's not a big reader, but that was one book that she read start to finish and said you don't
phenomenal.
Yeah, and then it's going to be a Apple TV show or Netflix.
I think so, which I'll never watch it. I'm a book girly. I don't like the adaptations, but I think it's like Sally Field and like it's star-studded, but that was her debut novel, and I was like, well, dang,
I know.
How you write that right off the bat,
right?
And then I am a big Preston and Child fan. They write a series called Pendergast. It's a thriller, and so they just wrote a prequel called Pendergast: The Beginning.
Oh,
and I'm reading this, and I'm thinking, get out of my brain, please, because it's set in New Orleans, and they talk about this swamp witch kind of thing, and I'm thinking, yeah, I know who that is because she is in my Hauntingly Good Spirits book. I tell that story, and it was funny. It was all kinds of, there were all sorts of intersections, which is hilarious. And in fact, I just did an author talk yesterday at a bookstore in the middle of the French Quarter, really neat. And so the owner of the bookstore was saying, oh, I really enjoyed your book. Do you read Preston and Child? Because your writing style reminds me of them. And I said, well, that's the biggest compliment because I love their style. I love, and I do think that I kind of had that in my brain, their style in my brain as I was writing. So I loved that. And I just finished that book. It was great. And the other one I read recently, again, late to the game, is Evie Woods. I just sort of discovered Evie Woods, and I read the bakery one, the mysterious bakery on the Rue de Paris. And so yes, I love that, whimsical and I love books that have heart. Yeah. And this is going to sound so strange. I love a gentle book. Yeah. I don't like to be like a bombard. I'm not a horror
all the time. Right.
Yeah, I love it to get the powerful emotion out, but have some restraint and subtlety in how it's done. Like those are the books that speak to me.
And I will say it definitely shows through in Lafitte Lives, because there are those touching home moments where it's kind of the moment I always say in a book where you can go, okay, take a break. I'm a big Clive Cussler fan, so like
me too.
Yeah. It's so great.
So great.
Even with all the misogyny of the early books, it's fine. It's fine. I know what I'm getting.
It's a different era.
It's the same thing. It's like you have these really like boom, 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 but then you get a moment with the family in your book, and it's like, oh, okay. And the nosy neighbor, the Mrs. Kravitz, as I'm going to call her. I love
There's more of her to come.
Oh, I can't wait because she's so.
Biddy Eau Claire did not exist in Lafitte Lives until after I wrote The Swamp Ghost, and I was like, oh, she needs to go back. So I went back and put her in that book.
She's another one that because you need that kind of like antagonistic but not villainous. Like she's not a villain. She's just kind of bitch. And
we all have them in our lives.
Exactly.
We all know a Biddy.
So where can people find you?
So I have. So my website is just my name, ChristiSumich.com. and that's pretty easy. I have an author page on Facebook. I try not to spam my regular Facebook with too much. So my author Facebook, which is if you just look up my name, Christi Sumich, you can find me there too. And that's when I put, whenever there's going to be an author talk or new book coming out. I'm going to, in the next probably month or so, release the first chapter of the Swamp
Oh,
Ghost, just people can get a sneak
teaser.
peek. And you can sign up for that on my website, yeah, if you're interested. But and of course, you can get the books anywhere, Barnes and Noble, Amazon,
Your
all that
favorite
good.
indie, a
Your
library.
favorite indie.
Tell your libraries to order it because that's a good way to
know.
do it too.
I'm working on mine. I need to do a better job of that, though. I need to get
Oh,
them
my
on it.
Abington library. I go once a week, so they really should just order my books because I'm like, hi guys, it's me again. I'm
Yeah.
here to pick up books and also and I ask them all the time. I'm like, how many books, how many times did I get checked out? And I think it's been like 16 over the couple of years, but for an indie author, that makes me happy. That means 16 people read.
That's
Plus,
great.
it's set in my town, so I've already sold it to everybody in my town. So I know they're not picking it up at the library because they read it because they live
Yeah.
here. But
Yes.
I will put your website in the little description so people can just click and find you. Also on the author page, you have pictures from that event yesterday in the garden, and it's gorgeous. It's what you picture a garden party in New Orleans to be. So that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and it is
Congratulations.
literally, thank you. I mean, it's literally steps away from Pirates Alley where he
Perfect.
plied his trade and sold the smuggled goods,
Yeah.
and it's all right there. So
Oh,
it was amazing.
oh, amazing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to read it. And
Yes.
also it's out now, by the way. I read it before, but it's out now. And thank you again for coming on.
Yes. Well, thank you for reading it, and I appreciate the support, and thank you so much for having me.
So go pick up her book now. Like literally, as you turn off this podcast, order her book because if you enjoy a pirate story, but also with heart and family and just historical awesomeness, go read it. And I'm not just saying that. And I don't just say things. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads and Amazon because 2 thumbs up. 2 thumbs up. Good job, Christy. And I can't wait to read The Swamp Ghost because that you got me with the hook. I'm already there. Yeah, I'm gonna read it. But yeah, so Christy's great. Enjoy her. The next podcast I have lined up is a baseball author, which is kind of fun. And he wrote a biography of it's called The Baseball's Outcast. We just had to reschedule, so he'll be in April. Gosh, look at my long hair. I can't. Guys, if you're watching on YouTube, my hair is too long. I need it cut. I need it colored. Look at my grays. I need it to do it before, although it is falling nicely. All of that. But first, I do want to tell you what's coming up in the world of May. April 4th, I will be at Curry College for a Sisters in crime scene investigation live with Professor Jabor of the Criminal Justice Department. We have 4 spaces left. So if you want to sign up, if you're a member of Sisters in Crime, it's free. If you are a guest, it's $25. We do the crime scene. And then because we're mystery writers and nothing phases us, we do lunch right after. So come enjoy lunch at the Curry College cafeteria. With your favorite mystery people. After that, I'm slowly planning things. April 15th, 1-5, I'm doing the Noir at the Bar to benefit the Alzheimer's Association with author and friend Marcy McCreary. So if you go into on my website, there's a link to get tickets. It's free, but donations. There's going to be starting April 1st. You'll see this on my Facebook and everything. There'll be an auction. I've donated a basket of baseball stuff and books, obviously, and other swag. And I've had some friends donate some books as well. So that'll be really cool. And I think she said she had like 30 other items up for auction. So if you're a writer, a reader, a fan, just someone who wants to give to a good cause, definitely donate. So that's April 15th at 7:00 at night. Like I said, the info's on my website. Guys, I'm staying up late. And also I got asked to read. Like I should probably start thinking about what I'm going to read. Oh my gosh. So stressful. Because I'll be reading with the likes of Edwin Hill and Hank, Philip Urian, and Joanna Schaffhausen, who's our MC. Like, what? what? And it's tax day. You want to have fun on tax day, right? So that's that. And then at the end of April, I will be at Malice Domestic. I did not get picked for a panel or for speed dating as of yet. So y'all can just find me. I'll be walking around. I'll have books. I'll have swag. I'll have, like Daphne Silver, Lauren Silverman, and I, we're going to have our baseball cards. So come and ask me for one. Just say, hi, Nicole, I am a fan. Or, hey, Nicole, I'm a fan of baseball cards. And I have a whole stack of them to give away. So, and you'll find trivia on here. And the trivia on here, if I ever get called for live with Mark and Kelly, one of the trivia answers is on here for Stump Mark. So just you can guess, and hopefully I would win a T-shirt and a mug. Hopefully Mark wouldn't guess, unless he asks for a baseball card. Mark Consuelos, if you're listening, Kelly Ripa, if you're listening, ask me for a trading card. I'll give it to you. I didn't go to New York this year for my mom's birthday, so maybe next year you'll get one for free. So that's April. In May, I have maybe May 9th doing an event with Mike Carini and another author in this area, in the local South Shore area. Stay tuned for that. May 16th, I don't know why my camera just zoomed in like that. That's weird. May 16th, I will be down at 3 Gen Love and Wandering Tale, a new bookstore in one of the old mills in New Bedford. And it's such a cute store. Like, I can't even begin to tell you. It's very open, and she's so supportive of independent authors that I'm just like, yes, I want to be a part of your world. Sign me up. So I'll be there doing a book signing on the 16th. Again, you can find all this on my website. The other big news is that I turned in book 3. So book 3 is currently with Level Best to start the process of first edits, cover, and all that stuff. So I think we're on track for the fall. So fingers crossed, guys. Foul play is coming. And before we sign off, as always, I like to tell you what I'm reading because I make everybody else tell me. I just finished Kelly Armstrong's First Sign of Danger. It's a Havens Rock book, and she writes, I think I've talked about her Rip in Time series before, which is an FBI agent who gets pulled back into the past. This is a kind of, it's a survivalist town for people who need to get away for various reasons. There's also the Rockton novels, but this is the spinoff of that. And kind of funny is, as I was reading this week, somebody on Threads was like, why doesn't anybody talk about Kelly Armstrong more? And I was like, girl, I'm reading it right now. So yeah, I agree with you about Kelly Armstrong. Also, I wanted to tell you about my Kindle books. Look at those. Look at all those. You can't read them because the screen is so gross, but I'm reading The House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, the Crescent City series. I had it in paperback and it's just too big. So then I was like, no more. I'm not reading the big paperback. I have 2 Anna Lee Huber books, the Lady Darby mystery and the Verity Kent series. I think the Verity Kent one might be the last one in the series, and I'm so excited, but also so sad. So I'm like, I'm like hoarding those. Also, City of Promises by Victoria Thompson, and I believe her daughter. For those in the mystery world, Victoria Thompson unfortunately passed away recently, and I mean last year, not like this year, but like in my recent memory. And she wrote the Gaslight series with Sarah Malloy and Frank Malloy, and then this new series with women suffragettes and con men, con ladies. So I'm halfway through the last. I'm not sure if her daughter's going to continue the series, but this is the next in the series. So I think she was working on it when she passed, and it's just kind of like, it's really fun. If you like the Gaslight series, if you like Gaslamp, if you like the original City of Dreams, City of all that, you'll enjoy those. I'm also reading L.A. Chandler's The Hindenburg Spy, which is the latest in her Lane Saunders series. So like, I read a lot of books at the same time, but I love it. And I will continue to do so. And I hope you guys enjoy reading books too. A lot of those are from NetGalley because I like to read them early and then post about them, and then I buy them and then I read them again. So it's probably why I have this many books just laying about my house. But that's about all I got for you guys. And I'm going to lean back in my creaky Uncle Bob chair. It is a rainy, gross day. So I'm going to go put sweatpants on and watch the rest of this basketball game, and then just basketball for the rest of the afternoon. But again, 5 days till Major League Baseball, Boston Red Sox, and I can't wait. So, as always, happy reading and go Red Sox.